Well, hello everyone. This is my name's Scott. My channel's I'm retired SMI. This one channel is about small businesses or a startup business. If you need extra money, it's really exciting if you do it. See, I just recently retired the end of last year. This is was it March, the beginning of March 2026. And really, after I got married, I always had like a side job, a side business, you might say. And I don't know why, but I would work 40, 50 hours a week and then I would do a side business. Some of the side businesses I did is I would flip mobile homes. Some of the side business, I was a magician one time and a clown. I used to travel, do a lot of kids shows, stage shows, whatnot, and also design web designs. So I was kind of a jack of all trades, you might say, when it comes to small business. I always liked that little extra money. I instinctively, worked hard and made money for a family that was growing, but I always wanted a little extra spending money. I never felt right trying to dip into my money. But I want you to know that during this channel, I'm gonna go and show you all these kind of businesses that people are doing now. A lot of them are quitting their jobs and they're just doing it full time. But I will tell you, if you are really hesitant in doing that, I would advise you to be like me. Um, just find a business you're interested, whether it's selling on eBay or Amazon, and you'll see these really unique businesses that even kids are doing. And if you go into that while you're working and just fit it into your family time, then I think you can grow it, and there'll be a point to where you'll be okay, I can now quit my job and get it. But, my biggest thing is I always wanted to make sure I had health insurance for my family. We had an income, we could pay our bills, whether, we start small in an apartment, then we bought a condo, then we bought a little bit bigger house, took the profit from there and got a bigger house. That's how we kind of grew over time. And then we always tried to stick money in the savings account or a CD, something safe. If we had some stocks we would basically, put some aggressive and some not so aggressive. But that's how we started things. Now, one of the first things I did is, see, I was a rodeo clown down in Davie. Jeez, I'm talking early 80s, really, and worked with a gentleman named Richard McAllister, which I called Mac. And, that was a great time. And I think because of that, um, during my college years when I went to University of Florida, I stumbled into a toy store where a lot of people were asking for magic. College students were constantly asking for magic. And I'm thinking, wow, maybe I can open up a magic shop. And I'm still trying to get my degree, and if I open a magic shop, that'll be a nice little business I could have. And back then, you didn't hear a lot of small business besides washing cars or bringing snow cones to construction workers and stuff like that. So I was really researching a lot. Now, back then, we didn't have the internet, we didn't have a lot of social media, stuff like that. But I would go to all these magazines and I would write to them about magic and stuff. And out of the blue, I got a gentleman emailed me. His name was Rick Jan the Magician. He was on Toast of the Town. It's Ed Sullivan before Ed Sullivan. He traveled around as a professional magician and trained a lot of magicians. And he told me, in order to have a magic shop, you got to know how to do magic. That's the whole point. Most of your money is going to be a lot of impulse buying as people come in. So I start practicing magic. I said, well, what a great small business that would be. So this segment here, I'm just going to tell you, let's start off. If you have a little entertainment bug to be a clown or magician, you can earn $100, $200, $300 a week and more if you practice some magic and clowning, and you don't have to have anything special in you. I will tell you how I kind of market it myself. I didn't care about competition in my town or anything. And one of the inspirations is what you see right here. Right here, this girl named Kimberly Strickland. She called herself Kiki the Clown. I happened to do, it was in the Parade magazine, believe it or not, and she wasn't too far from me. And here's this 10-year-old girl doing magic shows as a clown, as Kiki the Clown, and she's earning $100 a pop. And I think she even got the book of Guinness World Record. And I'm like, wow, if that 10-year-old can do it, I can do it. So I really started studying and trying to practice. And, I'll show you a picture here. Let's see if I can get it up. There it is, me. That's when I had hair and I was younger. And I started practicing magic, thinking, well, geez, if this girl can make $100, I should be able to make $100. But I didn't want to do it unless I practiced some magic. And if you will take a look at this picture, you don't need to go to a magic store or online and stuff and buy the most expensive magic. In fact, I wrote a book about magic, making magic tricks or magic boxes out of cardboard, and I got really good at it, making my own props. But if you take a look here, there's this like dollar thing where a paper turns to a dollar. You got the ball and vase, you got the 3 balls, a little bit of rope, handmade card tricks from a magic kit that you basically can buy at any store, Target, Walmart, wherever you want, or even online. And I started with that. And I got really good with that, and I started showing friends, families, and then I got myself hired and to a kids show, and I with some of the stuff I made and whatnot, I had a really successful career in magic. I really did. Now, just last year, trying to downsize and get myself retired, I sold a lot of stuff that I had, let's see if I can find it here. There's me right there. You can see all kinds of, I did, here a little for the newspaper, practicing. Here's me in a bunny costume. I try to make something. I floated my daughter right here. And then my wife and I would join me in certain things, and we would do things like grand openings at toy stores. One was a butcher block, and I would consistently do things like that. I even tried to sell magic. I went to the local flea market. I made these things. These are the cups and balls right here. These are handmade magic and stuff that I would sell. I made balloon animals and sold them as well. And I did that at a flea market. And my wife joined me. Of course, she wasn't really keen. She was a school teacher, but she seen what I do, and she went along with it. So I even made my own tricks and sold it. It shows that even in a small business, before you get an LLC and do all kinds of stuff, you got to get your feet wet in there and practice and do things. And the magic, you can do it. You can make 100 or 200. You just got to practice. My claim to fame for doing magic, especially kids' parties, I would practice hours and hours till I didn't think about the magic. That way I can kid with the kids and have a great time with the kids because I knew how the tricks would work. There's me, straight jacket. I'll do a video at one time about a straight jacket. I bought a real straight jacket and the trouble I was in. Let's see. Let's go back. Practicing, that's all I got left pretty much, except for a bunch of VHSs I made. My Tarbells, I recommend Tarbell course. That is a great course. This red thing right here, that's actually a Vanishing Dove trick. The Monopoly's nothing, but I got my magic books here and here. I even got this, Daytona Magic. If you go to DaytonaMagic.com, Harry Allen and partners are running the store. They actually recently moved to Ormond Beach. And basically I bought his little VHS and I practiced on that. He has some really good. He's a very, very funny and accomplished magician. One of the practicings I did to get good at magic, I would basically film VHS, tape it when we had those VCRs on people doing magic on TV. And then I would practice, even though they weren't showing the tricks, I would practice them over and over and over until I had the same result and sometimes a different way. 1990, I won the State of Florida Close-Up Magic I did a magic thing. I was really scared because you're doing magic in front of a lot of magicians and peers and judges, and I was really surprised. They called my name and I had won. There's Daytona Beach Magic Shop, Harry Allen's. That's a young him, and Irv Cook. He's over to the left. You can see when you go to a magic shop, you can be confused. So don't over confuse yourself when you're starting. That's the old ones. So basically, we'll just get to basically to start a magic business. And I'm going to find little things on TikToks and YouTubes of other people teaching on that. You need to buy any magic. And right now, you can go on TikTok, YouTube, and learn how to do magic tricks. Now, the first thing I would say if you're going to make money is what kind of magic you want. Because I did close-up magic in restaurants. I just stayed magic. Parlor magic is like comedy clubs. I would do close-up magic, and I would do kid parties, either as a clown or a magician. You got to pick, what is your personality? What would you really like to accomplish? What do you want to do? That's the kind of tricks you need to go for. I had so many tricks one time. What I would do is I would lay them all out, just drop them down, just about 10 tricks, and I would do it and make them flow into each other, and then I had a routine. You get 8 to 10 tricks, lay them down, and just go through them and do a pattern to get them. And then I was able to do kid parties or adult parties and stuff like that. I started off doing kid parties, and that was really great because it really broke the ice, got my personality out there. And then I did more and more complicated magic for adults and clubs and stuff like that. So I made a good amount of money. You probably ask, if you were so good and all that, why aren't you still doing it? Well, I'll tell you why. There was a point in our lives, our daughter has grown, was getting older, and I had an opportunity to do a sales job and get into this company, which I did, and I made a lot of money, a good amount of money, a lot for me. Let's put it that way. I even worked my way up to, we'll say, 6 figures at one time, selling items or selling for a company. And I just didn't have time to do magic anymore. In the 90s, I just really kind of let the magic hit to the side. I stuck it all in my attic for, 20, 30 years until I decided to start recently getting rid of it at the end. I actually donated it to Orlando Magic Club, to a gentleman there. Almost all my magic and floating things and whatnot. And I had some really old ones from an old magician friend of mine. So that's why I did it, and now I still love magic. I still dabble with little cards. I always got one right here at the computer of me, that I'll just riffle and shuffle and play. I love watching magicians, all kinds of magicians. David Williams is one of my favorite magicians of all times. He is the funniest one out there. Matt King, I love him. He's from Kentucky. Lance Burton's pretty good. I do love when Penn and Teller started out. There's the great Tom Sonny, Johnny Thompson, loved him. You'll get your niche in there, but if you want to start a business and you like a little bit entertaining, first of all, just jump in with both feet. Get some magic. Play around magic. Get it good where you're not even thinking. Always practice in the mirror if possible, and then show everyone you can. Then put a little routine together and go out and do a kids party or adult party or whatever you want to do. And I would, you didn't have to be difficult. Like some of the comedy magicians, Michael Finney, another one I can't come to my mind. You would see some of the tricks they did are just normal tricks. They weren't anything elaborate, but they do cruise ships and comedy clubs, and everyone just loved it for the personality. Find out your niche, what you do. Practice your magic, and then you got social media. Go to Facebook, put an ad, do magic shows for kids. Put flyers out if you have to. I used to do in the newspaper. Of course, newspapers aren't big, but it was like the Thrifty Nickel, word of mouth. Just get it out there. If you do 1 or 2 magic shows, if you have to, charge $25, charge $50 until you get really good at it. And a lot of times I would have giveaways at the end of the shows for the kids. I'd practice balloon animals and they all got that. Or sometimes I have a little piece of paper, had a bunch of magic tricks on that, and I would roll it up and make little black markers like it's a magic wand, and I would give all the kids that. So I always left them with something. I would do a little kid stage, and sometimes I do close up. So, magic business view, the first thing I would say out of these small businesses you could start and earn some money and work your way up and everything is magic. Magic and clowning. Watch YouTube videos, watch TikTok videos, watch all kind of videos on the magicians and find the one that you like best. And I would say today's segment, the first segment, is magic. You can easily make up to $500 a week or more. You may start off making $100 a week. If you work during the week after hours like I did, I got off work and then I got dressed and I went to a show. I was at the point where I could make $800-900 a week. So you can do it. It's easy business to start and to earn some money. So I hope you enjoy this segment. This is how I started out. This is the first one. I would say make money and doing magic. All right. Well, TTFN, this is Scott. I will talk to you another time. Watch for the next video and subscribe.